to scoot this back.
Yeah, let's scoot it back. So wait, is it coming from that mic, that camera, or that camera?
This camera, both. This is YouTube. We got Instagram. Hello, all 0 of you watching right now.
I'll be right like this.
This is Austin and Tyler Sherwin live with Adult Prom. We're about to start the recording, so hang tight. Is Instagram going?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
You can start it.
It says checking. It's trying.
Is there a way can like watch it on Instagram
Yes.
live?
You guys could, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and we're going to pull it up on mine.
Hey, what's the Wi-Fi password here?
Silly Quail 232. We just got a new router.
Welcome all YouTube viewers now on Austin's Wi-Fi.
Is it?
Which
It's
network?
Lothlorien.
Lothlorien.
5G or no?
Yeah.
Either one.
Sexy Quail?
Sexy Quail?
All right.
Wait, what was
Silly Quail.
any
All
capital?
No caps 232. Although I'm not sure if we all want to get on the Wi-Fi.
Well, let's just have one.
Yeah, like
One
if we have
point.
one on each side so we can see questions and stuff. I might even take mine off Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Put it
this
in my
is
pocket.
still
Mm.
not.
Tyler, did you get on our Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are live on YouTube.
Yeah. Let me go through my Instagram real quick. I can't.
Gotta make sure.
Yeah,
wait,
my
you see
Instagram
every
loaded better
story.
when we were off.
I gotta friend you guys first. I'm just kidding. Sherwin,
Ethan.
boys. I don't see anything live yet.
It still says checking.
Chunky.
Chunky.
Well, if you want me to get off, I can get off.
Yeah, I can come off it too.
Yeah, I might need to just pull it up on data.
I only have a gig.
You have 1 gig?
I have 1 gig. I gotta really
That's like the size of a USB. Small USB.
smaller than that. How many you
It's
do?
like a 2005
One
free
gig.
USB.
So Sherwin Rubber Show.
Yeah, just do it on Russell's.
It might be. It's
It's
okay.
like the most entertaining 2 minutes of
I'll
on
try.
YouTube right now.
This episode is brought to us by Bundaberg,
Thunderbird.
sponsored by Australia themselves.
Isn't that
Ah.
family though that like is in charge of the world?
No, that's
Bilderbergs.
Bilderberg.
Bilderbergs.
The Bilderbears.
Build the Bears.
In affiliation with Bilderbergs.
Is it going or no?
Should I turn off the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, try going to
Yeah, it's just
LTE. I got unlimited data.
This phone's too new.
You got
Swipe
unlimited
from
data?
the top right corner.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Or what?
You have unlimited
Because
data?
it's on like our business phone plan.
Oh,
I don't think it's
knew
unlimited. It's like
Oh,
you pay.
We
per-
get like $20 or 20 gigs each.
that.
yeah, but then
That's unlimited.
Yeah.
Which folder?
we should we just like restart this live stream on YouTube? Because we're like 3 minutes in.
This is part of the fun.
Yeah, I guess people can
Well,
join anytime, right?
We are Adult Prom, and this is all we have to offer.
We're here for you.
We're here.
One day, this is gonna be a serious treasure on YouTube. You know how
Is
people go back and watch like
What, Joe
It's
Rogan's
like
first podcast?
interview
You ever
with
seen that
like
one?
Radiohead, and people are just like, "Holy crap!"
Have you seen the first podcast, like Joe Rogan's first
No.
podcast?
No.
It's a mess. It's so bad.
That's
No,
hard
really.
to do.
This will be the remember the real Josh comes out.
Yes.
The real Sherwin brothers.
I'm not seeing it.
Any luck?
Yeah.
Oh wait, yep.
The rest of the
Is
Sherwin
it?
brothers.
Oh yeah, it's live.
I see black.
Oh, good.
I see black.
Oh wait, yep. I see me on my phone.
And then you just
Should we just use my phone or?
we'll have ours over here, and you guys have yours. That way, you can all see like what comments come in and stuff. All right, everybody ready?
Oh yes.
Hey, well,
Bundaberg's
this
is making
thing's
my
behind.
mouth.
I'm not doing
And,
that. I'm not doing that.
Okay, I'm pushing record. Welcome to the Sherwin Brothers Show. My name is Austin Sherwin, here with my brother,
Tyler Sherwin.
and we're so excited for today's show because this is the first time we're going to feature people besides ourselves on the show.
Really? We're the first
You guys
Yes.
are the first guests.
Imagine Dragons.
We're gonna give you guys
There you
a
go.
little blue ribbon that says first guests. So today we have Russell and Ethan of Adult Prom, the band,
Oh, hi.
here on our show.
Oh, hey.
Welcome to be here.
Welcome to be here.
We're so happy to have you guys.
Thank you for coming.
You know, I think I'm going to do this on my headphones.
All right.
I
Okay,
think I'm
that's-
going to go. I think I'm just going to go
That's totally
berserker
fine.
mode. Oh.
So everybody who's tuning in, F2NN
That's
says,
Finn.
Finn, welcome.
That little
Says, give me a mic, I want to say. And Janae joined. Welcome, Janae, Finn, everybody else is watching. Just remember that the way we do this show, you guys can chime in and, ask questions, make comments,
Can we start with an opening prayer?
praise
Mhm.
Ethan's hair, whatever you want to do. So, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here, guys.
We're so happy to be here. Thanks for having us. And it's about damn time, I say.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's just start on the basic level.
Mm-hmm.
Russell,
Yes.
how did you and Ethan meet?
We met.
It was the first days of the LDS singles.
Yeah, it was.
Thing.
We started with AOL,
That's right.
and it's just been
Moved on from there.
ever since then. It's just been me and him.
I was thinking about this today because, we had a class together, in 8th grade, a study skills class.
That's right. That's right.
And, but I thought he was kind of weird. But then, but I remember, becoming friends with you, Austin. And he said, oh, yeah, I'm friends with this kid named Ethan Martell. We're in the same ward. And so I wanted to meet him one day, and I saw him. I saw you, and you were walking up to seminary or something like that. And I thought your last name was Myrtle. And I was like, Ethan Myrtle. And you just so aggressively said, it's Martell. And I was just like, well, screw this kid, man. I don't want to
Yeah.
become friends with him. That's how we met.
That's how well,
Beautiful.
you thought I was like some. Okay, remember there was that Marshall kid,
Mm-hmm. The rapper.
and for some reason, me and him, he bullied me in a friendly way, and so Russ thought we were friends.
That's right.
How long ago was that?
Oh,
That was 8th grade.
8th grade. 13 years ago. So
All
it's
right.
been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Look how far we've come.
Exactly.
We're growing up. We're growing up, and
We've made it all the way here, which is a block away, 2 blocks away from your house.
yeah, 2 blocks away, if that.
Hey, but you're going. That's all that matters.
That's true. That is true.
So I feel like I kind of know the answer to this, but we're both kind of curious. Russell, for your writing songs, what do you consider your biggest influences? I know some a lot of your favorite bands,
Mm-hmm.
but who are the most influential that you feel like in how you actually write?
What kind of circumstances or something like that? Or...
Yeah, like when you think about the music you listen to, what has the most effect on what you write?
Top
That's-
artists or influences.
Yeah.
Artistic influences.
Man, top artists, man. I would say, my favorite bands, they gotta be the Smiths, the Beatles, Nirvana, Velvet Underground, Lou Reed. Just it's just been, I picked them up a few years ago, and they've just kind of always stood the test of time, just throughout high school and on to now, where I'm okay, this is what I'm gonna listen to for the rest of my life. So I think musically along the lines of that, a lot of lo-fi artists on K Records and stuff like that, like Calvin Johnston, Daniel Johnston and stuff, a lot of that. But man, just the good stuff,
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just thought of this while you were saying that, but I feel like we're getting on an age now.
That's true.
Coming up on 28, we're old
Oh.
geezers. But I was thinking recently that now that we've reached this age, I have noticed that I kind of just go back to the same, it's my music taste settled,
Yeah.
and it's new stuff doesn't get me like it used to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because I feel everybody knows their parents' taste in music. And you know how you're always Dad, listen to this song, and they just never.
It just goes over there.
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to hit that age where it's
Oh, yeah.
like, this is what I listen to, and this is probably what I'm gonna listen to the rest of my life, and I guess that's it. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, and I'm like almost content with that in a way. I'm just like, I mean, there is still like new music and stuff that I'll hear every now and then. They'll be like, "Oh man, that's great," but like, it won't hit me at that like obsessive level as like Nirvana hit me or Death Cab for Cutie hit me or something like that. It's just like it's like it's harder nowadays to be like harder to go to concerts almost. We talked about this a while ago.
Yeah, I don't feel like ever like I've seen who I've wanted to see. Maybe save like one. I've seen the top bands I've wanted to see, so it's like like if I kicked it, I'd be good. You know,
And if like you go to a concert, it's just I just want to sit down.
yeah,
just sit down, be quiet,
Yeah.
fold my arms.
be the old dudes in the back.
Uh-huh.
that don't mosh, don't do it. You're just like, we're here for the show. Just
Exactly.
appreciate.
I think our last was Mac DeMarco getting
That's
all
right.
crazy and wild. Like, I mean, you guys were there. Like,
It's a beautiful show.
it was a
crazy,
beautiful
though.
show.
That was
Touched a beautiful man, and you know what?
Just
That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For real. Back to Marco. That's another. I think that's like the last like real one that was just like, oh man, like, coming back from the mission or something. It was just like, okay, I still have one more in me. This guy.
I think we all felt that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, the whole music industry felt that way, like, or at least the whole like indie scene. I feel like because now it's all. I feel like the indie scene, at least recently, is like pre-Mac and post-Mac. Where it's like,
Post-Mac.
Oh yeah.
now everyone's trying to sound like Mac, which I don't blame them.
Because it's something. It's a catch.
He got it.
And he's just a charming old boy.
He
When
is.
it comes down to it.
All right, so we didn't prep you guys for these questions. So
Yeah, I don't wanna
you can't
sound
think
like
of
an
it
idiot.
off the top of your head. That's okay, but I'm curious,
They're not too hard.
what is one of your earliest memories of music growing up when you were like something just hit you?
I remember I had my uncle. We like those like Windows like movie maker like crappy slideshows you make where it's just like a picture just comes in. There's like a music behind it and stuff. They had those like back in like the 80s and stuff in the 90s, but they were like you had to go to this guy and you had to shell out like $500 for him to do this, and it was like this huge elaborate process. And so my uncle had one of just like his life, like when he was a kid, went on his mission, got married, and so on. And he had like the music on it was like Buddy Holly's True Love Ways, the Beatles, Norwegian Wood, and In My Life. I think Chicago was on there, Carly Simon and stuff. So I remember like that really vividly. And I was probably like 4 or 5 and just being like, I really like this. And then finding like that CD where that Buddy Holly song came from. And I was like, I like this guy. I like this stuff. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And then like finding my dad's CD collection and stuff. And it had like the Eurythmics and stuff, like Sweet Dreams.
Yeah.
Depeche Mode. I think that's similar. We have the same dad.
We have the same dad. Joe and
Joe and Joe.
And
What was yours, Ethan?
so I can remember the first time I got the chills listening to music. I can't remember how old I was. I was pretty young. I was sitting up in the library playing with Legos on the futon, and I don't know. I remember it very vividly, and you're gonna laugh, but I grew up in a very classical family, so Phantom of the Opera came on. Which played a lot in my house because it was like that time when it kind of came out.
Oh yeah.
And when that organ just, I was just like, this is music. And yeah, but like with what you were saying, like it all starts with dads. That's why that's why America needs dads to teach their young boys what music is. So
Exactly.
So every once in a while, I'll be like playing around with an idea, and then I'm like, "What is this? I know it." And then I'm like, "Dad, come here," and he's like, "Oh, this. I was listening to a lot of this band in our group at this time, and like when I was like probably like infant to 3 years old, so it's like I don't remember like the music, but like it's coming out. Like, you know, is that,
Yeah.
that happened
Oh, no.
to you? Yeah.
That, like, I swear, when I was like growing up, my dad would play Neil Young in the car, or the Smiths, or Lou Reed, or something. And that was the time I was listening to like My Chemical Romance Confused. I wanted that. I wanted Sad. I wanted Loud Sad. And my dad would just keep playing it in the car if we were going to like the store or something. And then one day it just like clicked that I just heard the Smiths. I was like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's the Smiths. And I was like, okay, all right. I think this is my life now.
Yeah, I was like, it's like
Sad
when you
boy.
turn probably 16, you're still like stuck in your own like this is what music is, but you actually kind of start tilting towards what you kind of grew up with, but you do it quietly and as a
Oh,
secret. I'm like,
definitely.
Dad, where can I find this? The CD, this mix CD, because my dad was always making these mix CDs,
I
tapes,
remember them.
and
I think he still is.
he still does. I have a great picture of it, but I just like secretly try to find like this one song or without him knowing. But I think dads, they just secretly know, like, just keep playing this stuff and they'll come around.
Exactly.
That's why I just can never get over Mambo number 5.
There you go.
Just-
Do you know Lou Berger, I think his name? Can't remember the guy.
I don't know.
He's German.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Mambo number 5. A little bit of Monica. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more
Wow.
German artists
Yeah.
than you'd think.
Huh.
They had it figured out, and we
I
just
mean,
didn't
Mambo
even know.
number 5.
Mhm.
That song played a surprising amount in our house, I feel like. Looking
Yeah.
back, I just remember that song playing a lot.
Well, I'm thinking like new wave. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
the good German
Yeah.
stuff.
All right, so I think we kind of already covered the influences, but I think so. When I think back to when we were 14, 15, and we started, back then I was in our band.
That's right.
our band. But I remember specifically the plan was that I think Russell was going to play guitar, keyboard, and sing. I was going to play bass, and Ethan was going to play
What?
guitar.
No.
No. Wait, listen.
I think you're
Because
lost.
I remember I was like, this is like the original, like before we had even started. This is before we got our instruments.
Well, we didn't even know Russ at that time.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
Matt.
it was me, you, and Matt. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Russ came on late. But when me and you were talking about forming a band, I was originally gonna do bass guitar. But I remember I talked to my dad and I was like, yeah, Dad, I think I'm gonna play bass in our band. And my dad was like, don't play bass. You wanna play guitar. You can't like take a bass to a campfire or like, a party. You gotta
Okay,
play
wait, I'm gonna
guitar.
stop you right there. Dave W. Bush Sherwin, you know what you're talking about. That's just a load of. I'll keep this podcast clean, but you know with this because
I mean, he's got a point.
if
I was a bassist for a while.
Yeah,
and
I legitimately remember having that conversation with my dad, and then being like, I don't know, a couple days later when I saw you, I think we switched. I was like, I think I'm gonna play guitar. You play bass.
which actually worked perfectly, I think.
Yeah,
I didn't care much for guitar, but I picked up the bass and I'm like, what's that song? Picked up my. It felt good on my hands.
Mm.
What am I doing?
yeah, Jukebox Hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the bass, not guitar. Plus, I think my violin skills
He
transferred.
says beat up 6-string. So is it a 6-string?
No, well, I was into that for a while, but maybe someday.
Going
Be
back to
rich.
more prog rock.
No, okay,
Yeah,
I've
fall
been.
Dream
It's
Theater.
fall time, and that means it's Dream Theater season,
Mm.
and it hit me like a brick, and that's why I've been just eating up. Like, man, in my heart every time.
So Russ, when did you start playing music?
Like just like guitar, just like anything in general, like starting music, starting to
Yeah.
play instruments. Guitar was probably like 12, turning 13, and like just found my mom's old guitar, and she had all these old like songbooks and stuff that she had from when she was taking guitar from when she was a kid, and I just took that and started learning like the songs in the book, and then like going on to like Ultimate Guitar and like finding chords, like we all do.
Ultimate Guitar.
UltimateGuitar.com. And
No, it's an app.
and it's true. It's a bad app.
Yeah.
It's such a thing.
We want you to pay like $8 a month.
Yeah. Oof.
I'll
No.
just stick with the free stuff.
Exactly. And like yeah, I just that's where that came from, and then slowly like it was like, oh, I'll pick up the bass, I'll pick up the piano because I heard a song on the piano I like or something, and then I still like learning new instruments and stuff like that, but like the guitars, man, that's where it all comes back to.
Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's true. I just remember, like, I can't remember when you told me this, but you told me once, like, all through high school, you pretty much just, like, went home and sat down and, like, thought of a song and basically, like, learned a new song every single day,
Oh,
right?
yeah. That was like I would go home and like I was obsessed with like Muse in high school, and like would just like learn like a Muse song on the bass or something or on the guitar, and then like would play along to it, and that was instead of, I don't know, like developing social skills or
Well, no,
talking to
we were playing with swords during that time.
Yeah.
We were
There's video to prove it.
we should have been outside playing with swords.
So while you were producing something in your life, we were
Playing in the
swords.
sandbox.
Yeah, playing in the
Playing
sandbox.
Halo. The
As
Hobbit.
like-
You were producing your minds. You were producing
That's
things
right.
in your mind.
Okay, all right, Tyler.
That's
Yeah. Meanwhile, we were bullying you,
That is also true.
baby time.
baby Tyler.
And not just in your minds.
There's no other way.
Look how tough you are now, though.
It's
I know.
I made
See, I knew someday you were going to grow big and tall and bigger than me, so I took advantage of that. And
You're
kicked you down
welcome.
when you were
but
small.
You're welcome.
Now I am the man I am today. All because you wouldn't let me play in the sandbox. So, Russell,
Yes.
I'm curious if because you just fairly recently you started actually playing your own stuff live.
Mhm.
You played stuff live before that, but it wasn't this is like your babies, right?
Yes.
So I'm curious, has starting to play your own songs live changed how you write songs, or how you like the process for how you write, or just did the songs come out differently?
I think it was like when I first started putting the songs out there, it was like with a lot of hesitation, just kind of like, is anyone gonna like this? Because it was like I had a million songs, and it was like, I'll choose like 6 ones that I think are good, and I was like, if anyone's gonna like this, I don't know. So I put it out there, and then it was like, oh, okay, there are people that like this, and I think like from playing the songs live and having them be out there, it's like, I think given me more confidence, I think, to just be more like, like, I don't know, just like more confidence to write, better lyrics, I think, and to be more vocal, because I just kind of wanted to be this mumbly, just be in the back, kind of a musician, but it's like I feel more confident now, I guess, like playing those songs live and everything. So I think it's changed. So it's like the songs are more open, they're more, I don't know, can make them more vulnerable, just anything like that.
Yeah, that makes
If
sense.
that answers your question.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, that's cool. And then like that totally makes sense. And just like having that, because I feel like, especially with creative things, I've felt a similar way. Not that I've like gone anywhere with anything I've written, but as soon as I started sharing anything that I personally wrote, then it was like, oh, this is not as like dangerous as I thought it was, And then it was like, it's like nobody actually cares what I'm writing, but in like a good way. I don't know. That's
They
how I
like
felt.
it, yeah. Where
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, you know, there's always in the back of your mind, just like you're just waiting for like just a sandwich to come out of nowhere and just hit you in the face, and then more food, and it's
Sorry.
the freaking Festival of Fools at Notre Dame. He's ugly. He sucks. Just run to the church. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But then when that doesn't happen, you're like, oh, I can put more out there, and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, that's cool.
Oh, totally.
What's like some of the more interesting or funny or random experiences you guys have had playing live shows?
Oh my gosh, man, it's been like, I feel like we're like now fairly prepared for almost anything, because we've had like it's just so much crap happen. Like, you know, right before we go on stage, we'll have like an amp blowout. While we're on stage, we'll have an amp blowout, or like a guitar fail or something, or like, you know, someone starts playing the wrong song or something like that. Like it's there's crap's just gonna happen, but it's like you know, the more you roll with it, that it was like almost like planned, and it's just like the better it's received or something like that, you know.
There was that one time when it was just me and you,
Mm-hmm.
and they must have like a new sound person or something, and she was like, go on at like 7:30. So we go on, and then we realize she's not back there at the sound booth, or
That's
whatever.
right.
And we're just like, hey, we just stood up, like we were naked,
We're just standing in front of the stage.
and we're on there like, oh, like, hey, is she gonna like turn off like the background music, and like, you know, she just never showed up. So we kind of started playing along a little bit to like the background music that was playing, and then we're just like, all right, let's get off, and we go find her, and she's like, oh yeah.
We're ready. Yeah,
And
no,
then,
it's fine.
I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, go on in like 5 minutes. And so 5 minutes goes by, and I'm like, she's still not there. I look around, I actually go back to the sound booth, and she's there, like crouching. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, oh yeah, I was just waiting for the song to finish. And I'm like, okay. So then we went on.
That's right.
That's kind of weird.
We had this one time. It
There's
was like,
probably some explanation, but it just seemed really bizarre to us.
there's this one time. Tyler, you were there for this one too. This was at the Village.
Oh,
BYU. And there was this. They were putting on this like this impromptu concert, right? And there was all these bands that were going to play, and that happened to be where we met this one band that were best good buddies with Dad Bod. Shouts out to Dad Bod. Check them out on Spotify.
I love their new album.
Just released their new albums.
It's
Fantastic. And we left them. And but that was the first concert where we met them. And I was sick with a cold. You remember that?
Dude, you were in such
so
a bad
tired.
mood.
Out of it. I was grumpy. I was mean. I was just like, I hate everything. And so yeah, we were gonna, you know, there was like 17 people in charge. We didn't know who was in charge.
I still don't know
Yeah.
who was in charge of this day.
And we were just like, you know, what are we supposed to do? And they're like, you gotta go on. You're gonna go on like right after these guys. Right after these guys go set up. Okay. And so like went and started setting up, and this one band just came up out of nowhere. And I guess they were supposed to be there when we were playing, but everything was just like, you know, it was just a mess. And so like they came up and were like, hey, we're supposed to be playing right now, and I was just so fed up, and I was like,
Yeah,
gonna
but you're
slug
pissed.
this kid in the mouth.
Well, because we had tried to find them.
Yeah.
Like we're I don't remember what the band was called now, but we were looking around, and
Some
everyone was like,
band.
"Dude, have you guys seen this band? Have you guys seen the band?" And everyone was like, "No." So finally, they're like, "All right, you guys just go on." So
Well, I remember what you said to that kid. You're like, dude, man, where the hell have you been? I'm like, Russ is so not in the mood right now.
Oh, it was
I thought we were just gonna go home.
Oh, we should have.
Should have just.
But you know what? We played to just like a sea of like indifferent, confused college children who were just kind of like, you know, would bob in and out, just kind of just be like, what the hell are these idiots doing? And like, cause we were just playing like fancy karaoke at that point, and like we had a drum machine and everything we were playing along to, and it was just so bad.
It was bad.
Oh man.
Well, then like the crowd, like they all what they wanted was in between sets them to play like the
Mhm.
dance music instead
Yeah.
of like all riled up.
They'd play to the window, to the wall.
And then we got on, and it's like,
Yeah. Well, I
So
think he
sad.
said we're just not gonna play "I Adore You." I think.
Yeah, we're gonna play.
Yeah.
Oh no, it
anything.
was Candy Says. We were doing
Mhm.
Candy
Yeah,
Says at
yeah.
that time. We're just like, you're right.
it's like no one is gonna listen.
And you know what? The brilliant part about that is just like, I mean, we've come a long way into knowing, like, I mean, it's only been like a year really since we've like been playing, and I feel like we're prepared for most anything. Because you know we have Johnny, our guitarist. He just like he has his whole setup. He's found his sound. James, our drummer, just recently on board. He's has found his sound and everything. Ethan as well, and me as well. And like we're like prepared sound wise, we're prepared equipment wise, but we know the crappy shows are still ahead.
But we're pretty good at like if something goes wrong, we're good at just like glazing over it, just like
BSing it.
kind of you know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that was so much a part of the appeal of someone like Mac.
Oh yeah,
'Cause the whole fun of his show is that it's just so.
it's so goofy. He
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, you feel like you're just hanging out with him in his living room or something, and he's just screwing around. Like the music's still
Oh,
really
yeah.
good, but he's just so relaxed, like having a good time. Like,
There's a great quote. My dad showed me it, but like he said Gordon B. Hinckley said it, but I'm pretty sure it's BS. He totally would say that. I think it's like attributed more to Clint Eastwood, but it's the quote is take your work seriously, but don't take yourself seriously.
Hmm.
And like I really think like the best artists out there are doing that. Like Mac, like he like someone said like, oh, you're slacker rock, and he's like, hey, maybe the music's laid back, but like I'm not laid back. Like I am busting my ass. I'm making these tours. I'm making this money to make this record to do blah 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 blah. And so I could go on stage and be a goof,
Mhm.
and to have that laid back persona. And like I think that's like attributed a lot. That philosophy I think is attributed to his success a lot, and to like all these other bands, like, give or take like a Nirvana, they were very similar or something like that. And I feel like that's what we want to do. It's just like, we work hard, but we play.
Well, I think that's what won us the first night of Battle of the Bands.
mhm.
Because we just like didn't take it too seriously. Like we didn't expect to win, and so we just went out there and just didn't take it seriously. And I think maybe the judges like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
And the bribe didn't.
oh yeah, that's right. This is a bribe.
Well, and I've been to like some of the shows I've been to with you guys, and like I've been to shows where you see the band plays, and you can tell that they take themselves really serious. And then something does go wrong, and they get pissed.
Yeah.
And the whole audience is like, oh,
Yeah,
everyone
it's
just
awkward.
pulls back,
Uh-huh.
and then like it's so hard to get back into the show. Like,
It spoils it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just you throw a hissy, because you want to throw a hissy fit, but it's just like if you do,
Mhm.
oh,
it's that moment in every fourth grade class where your teacher just loses it and yells at the class and everyone gets really quiet and you're like,
for like a week.
yeah.
you can't go back.
Oh yeah, and it's just like I think if you're working hard, you have a goal in mind and you're doing something. That's like what we're trying to do. But at the same time, just being like, whatever, come what may. This is ridiculous. Might as well. It's that John Mulaney quote where he's like, I guess this might as well has happened or something like that. Butchering it completely, but it's just like, just go with the flow, man. I don't know how we got to this, but yeah.
Kurt Vile, keep on rolling with the flow.
Ooh,
It's a good
it's
song.
great. It's a cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This shows how much I actually know about music.
I love Kurt Vile
feel like I'm just,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm always like a constant fraud when it comes to like music.
Catching up.
But change of subject. We have the wonderful Jenica
Oh yes.
Hello.
in the corner.
Jenica's
She's helping us with our AV stuff today, taking pictures and stuff. So Russell,
Yes.
how long have you and Jenica been a thing?
Well, my sister Jenica and I went through a few loopholes in the system, and we finally have been granted a marriage certificate as of 2 years ago. Yeah, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary being married.
Awesome.
It's September 2nd,
Cool.
not.
not the 5th. As see, I feel like I'm the more stereotypical, like, you know, wifey character in the relationship, where I'm the one that like wants surprises and dates and flowers and things, and like, you remember our anniversary, right?
At least there's one in the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how has Jenica, like meeting Jenica, dating her, marrying her, how has that affected your writing?
I think it totally encapsulates it, because like I feel like without Jenica, I wouldn't be doing like this adult prom thing, because like, you know, I would write all these songs, and then like finally it's like I can actually write a love song that I like, you know, I'm just like, okay, I really can write this song. You know, it just felt like easier to write like love songs and like just, you know, happier songs, and like and I had all these songs, and Jenica would just be like, why aren't you doing anything with them? I was like, yeah, because I don't want to. I mean, you know, and it was basically, that was me saying like, because I'm terrified,
Yeah.
you know. And but she was like, you know, I think you got to do it. And we were both like, you know, I think you're right. So this is technically Jenica's fault. This whole podcast.
It's Jenica's band. She's
Uh-huh.
the
It is.
puppet master.
It is Jenica's band. She would not
Exactly.
be here without you.
God bless.
Your
Mhm.
band mom. I always ask, can you hold my stuff before the show?
Oh, yeah.
Here, can you hold my stuff?
Mom.
I need to invest in a bigger.
A bigger bag for all the boys.
Oh.
The Mary Poppins
Jackets.
bag.
Mhm.
Medieval.
Can you hold my jacket? Can you hold my keys?
Yeah, I feel like it's yeah, she's like just the number one like person that's pushing me to do better and to you know, keep pursuing, you know, this music thing, when there's like days when you're just like, screw it, like what am I doing? You know, like why am I doing this? Why am I going to practice? Why am I, you know, investing all this time in this? And then Jenica says, hey, yeah, stop. And just like, okay, yeah, I should. It's all good. So thank you, Jenica.
Big thanks to Jenica.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is a question that, I mean, you guys have 6 songs live on Spotify.
Mhm.
You're in the process of writing an album, but I feel like I've followed you guys enough that I guess I know most of your discography now. So, question: what inspired you to write the song "Good Sport"? And is it about sports?
Good sport. Well, let me tell you, I wrote this song in a half hour, whole thing,
Wow.
recorded it in an hour. And wow is right. It's a complete like trying to be Courtney Barnett, just a total ripoff. And I mean, that's what
Okay, that makes
that's
sense.
what all songs are, but
Yeah.
and all of ours, and especially that one. And it's, yeah, it was weird because like I feel like I'm just such a bad like athlete, so I feel like to compensate for me just being like a little beta bitch boy, I gotta like you know, like write all these songs making fun of sports. But I mean, the sports are fine, they're great, but
We just suck at it.
we just suck at it. And like so like I don't know, that song just came to just it was like it was goofy. I wanted it to be goofy. I didn't want it to be serious. I just wanted it to just be a not serious song because I felt like a lot of the songs on the album were like swaying that way, like in a serious way, and like a lot of the writers I like just will throw in something that's like ridiculous and hilarious. Like all my favorite artists are so funny, and I want to try to do something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, on another note, that last call,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote at you guys' apartment.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Oh, the Fox Den?
At the Fox Inn.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Fox.
Yeah. When we were just like hanging out there, and I was just sitting on the couch, and I just remember like, oh, sounds nice. Okay. And so that's where that came from.
What are like the lyrics behind it? Like,
Nothing.
like,
It's
I like that song.
yeah.
Like,
It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. Like there's like talk about Jenica in there a little bit. Talk about like just I don't know, really nothing. Just like something to fill the void. And I don't know.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
like that's I think like one of my cousins has written a couple of novels, and I asked him one time like, how much meaning is there that like authors put into their novels, and then how much is it just like fans like reading into it and putting together like these elaborate like
I've always wondered.
it's like deep meaning, and he's like, I think a good rule of thumb is it's like 50-50. Like the author usually has like some intention behind it, but then like the fans take it and he's just like, wow. I don't know where you got that from.
There's a great
I never thought about that.
Yeah, there's a great John Lennon like as part of the film when they were filming the making of the album Imagine, and there's a dude that like sneaks onto his property, and it's just like he's this total hippie guy, looks like Father John Misty, and he's just like, John, man, like, dude, you mean everything. I'm here because of your lyrics. I followed you here, like spooky. And John Lennon's just like, what are you talking about? Like, just like my lyrics don't mean anything, and he's just like, no. And he said like when you said, boy, you got to carry that weight. It's like that was Paul that said it. Like all these songs don't mean any. I mean, some lyrics they talk about my wife or something. I'm just filling time. Are you hungry? And so yeah, I think there's a lot of songs with meaning, but like a surprising amount of songs that are just like, I gotta think of something quick, or just like.
What song was that Mac? Was it at the concert? I can't remember what song it was, but Mac was like, it's a perfect pop song. Where it's like unintelligible lyrics, catchy beat, nice riff.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. 4 chords.
Yeah.
Verse, chorus, bridge, chorus.
Man, I'm never gonna hear Last Call the Same again.
Oh no.
I was like, man, there's like some deep experience that Russell had with this, where he was like at a bar or something, and like last call and
last call. It was a ghost bartender from The Shining.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
Mine's always, what is I Adore You about?
I Adore You is about.
I think you told me once, but I don't
it's about
remember.
Ethan. It's like just when you're like dating in college and you're like it was like Jenica and I it was just like she lived in Provo, I lived in Linden, and it was like a 20-minute drive to each place.
True West Side Story.
Oh, it is, right? It's very West Side Story. And like you're just dumb. You have work at like 9 o'clock in the morning and then school, but you stay out till 6 in the morning. But it's just like, Austin as a married man, I'm sure you can relate to this. It's like, isn't it nice? You don't have to do that anymore.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're like, oh, the memories. Like, and so that's
it's like 4 a.m. You're like, I'm really gonna go home now. Like,
Exactly.
This is too late. I need to go home.
But what if I miss something good?
Yeah.
And that song, just like I was like, well, that could be a good set of lyrics. And it's pretty.
It's a pretty
It's
song.
pretty.
Nice song.
Maybe we should have you
Speaking of,
play it. right now.
Wow.
All
Let's hear it. Music
three
time.
of you that are currently watching will get to see this done for the first time on a podcast live.
Also, Tyler, you promised
10%?
We got 10% of live streaming left, so
We'll make it.
I think you can plug this into that lamp,
Ooh. Here's this. Setting up.
and we
I'll
will
move for this.
edit out all of this in between stuff.
No, just leave it.
You're
It's
not
fun.
live.
Are you ready?
Someone named Ian shouted out.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, man. Love you, dude. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Jessica
Big
just
ups.
joined us. She waved.
Hi, Jessica. Alrighty, you ready?
Yeah, we are ready.
Okay. Lock your door and I drive off out of town with my head in the face. And my heart all over the place. Defroster's on. And 88 on. God forbid that I'm done with you. I adore you. Yeah, truly, truly, I do. I adore you. Truly, truly, I do. As I look at the time, the only thought in my mind, through the dawn's early light, what a beautiful night. Maybe it's the lack of sleep, thinking that I'm all yours to keep. Maybe it's the fact that this song just keeps going on. I adore you. Yeah, truly, truly, I do. life so you yeah, truly had to.
That was wonderful.
Beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Never
for
get tired of that song.
pleasuring us with your beautiful voice,
Hey,
guitar, harmonica.
You're too kind, friends.
All right.
There's a big difference, I think, even between when we played that song on the Aggie radio up in Logan. I feel like even between now or then and now, you're singing like you're like more into it. You're more confident, like singing louder. I love it.
Well, thanks, man. We should probably bring that up. Tyler was in adult prom.
Just keep like semi-referencing Tyler's presence.
Oh yeah, Tyler and I had a brief fling. Like it was a fling.
Yeah, it was
Ghost
fun.
boy.
We loved having Tyler on board. That was fun.
It was fun.
So many good shows, man.
Use the
Some good
eye
times.
candy, and that's where we got most
That's
of our
true.
fans.
That's
No,
true.
No one cares anymore. I'm out of the band. Sorry, guys.
Actually, there are some people that have followed us like after you left, and I was like, I wonder who those people were.
Now all eyes are on Ethan.
Now all eyes are on Ethan.
It's true. Saucy bass boy.
Eligible,
Yeah, I don't think
beautiful
so.
boy, handsome.
So Ethan, you have some of your own music projects going on too. Tell us about that.
Oh, it sucks. It's going real slow. I maybe would stop playing so many video games. Maybe I'd get something accomplished.
Read some pretty good stuff though.
Yeah,
It's
you
pretty
got some
good.
skills. So what
Really good.
what kind of things have you written for recently?
Written for
Yeah,
my own pleasure.
didn't you do like comic books and some? Video
Oh no!
game
So
stuff,
yeah,
or-
I did like a intro for a comic my sister is working on called Temerity. It's a sci-fi. I almost said Spanish sci-fi, but space sci-fi.
Spanish space sci-fi.
But that's it.
Nice.
And then so John was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about like making lo-fi mixes or something?" And I was like, "No, but maybe I should." So maybe I'm like working on maybe doing some like synthwave stuff, just like easy, like chill music,
Nice.
throw on YouTube, people can listen to on their commute, and then maybe when I put out my album, they'll have some followers, and then like, this isn't like what I was listening to. I don't want to listen to this guy anymore.
Chill
They'll be
lo-fi
enough.
hip hop beats.
Yeah,
Study
so
music.
yeah, so study music. Just throw that out there.
December's coming up, and one of my favorites is there's like a lo-fi chill hop Christmas playlist on YouTube. It's pretty
Oh,
great.
the
Is it
best
just
one I
like-
found was the Ghosts Only
Yeah.
Lo-Fi that I
That's a good
sent
one.
you.
Is it just like that Charlie Brown "Christmas Time Is Here" song,
Yeah.
but like Claro
Yep.
singing?
Basically.
No, I'm actually really excited to hear if you get around to making this chill wave stuff. I'm excited because I'm a vaporwave, chill wave,
Yeah.
pop, chip,
I'm also
chip chop boy.
working on some J-pop.
Yeah,
my
It's
J-pop.
true.
first. For those
Stuff.
of you who haven't listened to Japanese city pop,
Japanese city pop is the best
it's not
music ever.
anything like Korean pop. We have to clarify
That's
that
true.
to everybody. Japanese city pop is like fusion of jazz, 80s, disco.
Yeah,
It
it's
just makes you so happy.
So
good.
good.
and just these saucy Japanese girls that are now like 50 years old.
Still soft.
Still sounds.
Yeah, still saucy.
That's Ethan's target audience. So as playing along with Russ, at least like in the adult prom phase version of Russ, has that influenced your music writing and tastes, or not tastes, but
Yeah, I think so. Russ, I've been ripping your stuff off
Good.
quietly.
As it should
And,
be.
Siri, take me to the closest classic skating.
Let's go.
I got my skates in the car.
Me too.
Me too.
I was supposed to, I blew Tyler off on our skate
skate date.
today.
Mm-hmm.
I said I was too tired. Anyways, what was I talking about? I forgot.
Russell's
Influencing your music.
Oh yeah, so with Angst, there's a while where you just play like two notes, like bum bum. I stole that. I could
Good.
and something.
I think I read that.
And then I used that keyboard sound you liked on the DX7, that like, you know. So I used that and made it's called a Requiem for Sad Boy. It's inspired by you, actually. I'll have to show it to you. It's a it's a DX7 mix with some synthy stuff. So
Requiem for Sad Boy.
and yeah, with a little reggaeton beat.
Sounds perfect for me.
I
Yeah.
like it.
I'm so
So
excited.
yeah. So yeah, there's some of that.
Wonderful.
Cool.
That I'm just stealing Russ's music.
That's good. Because I stole it in the first place. That's the one thing I'll give about like Coldplay, like early Coldplay, old Coldplay, where like Chris Martin like went through all of their first album and was like, we ripped off this song from My Bloody Valentine, this song from Jeff Buckley, and this song from the Beatles, and then like at the very end it was like, that's the one Coldplay song, and it was Parachutes. And I was like, that's true. That is true. Like every album ever.
I think at this point it's almost virtually impossible to not copy something.
It's so yeah.
The last guy to come up with something original was Johann Sebastian Bach.
Mm-hmm.
That guy.
Yeah.
Fugue 38.
Yeah.
D minor something.
Oh man, what was the other month? I can't remember. It's something. It was talking about the 80-20 principle. Like 80% of your success comes from 20% of the efforts.
Okay.
But he was talking about how in classical music, that's like it's like 1 to 99. He's like, there is like 1% of classical artists who wrote 99% of the classical music that survived, and like nobody since has done anything. Like he's like, it's like a phenomenon that a lot of people have like studied and stuff, because they're just like, basically it was like Mozart, Bach, Handel, Chopin. They're just like, they wrote so much classical music and nobody has been able to touch classical music since.
They
What
did
the crap?
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what all of our modern music is based off of at some point, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Canon in D is like every pop song ever written, pretty much.
And like Rite of Spring is like freaking the heaviest metal you could ever hear.
That's true. It's like
That's
like 9 Inch Nails.
Rite of Spring, 9 Inch Nails.
That's like the 9 Inch Nails of the 1700s.
But for reals though.
Yeah.
It's
kinda
crazy.
nuts.
You ever seen that like graph that's just like the quality of like music, like composition wise and recording and everything, where it like in like popular music it like peaked in like 1970, 1969 and just been a steady decline ever since.
Yeah.
And that would be like little times where it would go up in like 88 or something like that, or 90, when it's just like Pixies are coming out, Nirvana's coming out, Smiths are coming out, you know. But then it just goes back down again.
That's probably at an all-time low now.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, all you have to do is do like some low 808 kick drum sounds with some like that like fake hi-hat, and then just that with some like
really deep synth bass.
No, I'm
It's,
talking like what everyone's listening to these days. Like you just do a little rap over that, do some
Yeah.
auto-tune, and then you have a hit.
Yeah, that's true.
Whenever I like listening to it, I'm like, man, I can make this in like 5 minutes. I can't rap though.
Yet it had like 17 producers on the real song.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
You have
I
like 19 tattoos on your face.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they make good music, but
Yeah.
I don't care for it.
Yeah.
Shouts out to our neighbor Post Malone.
Yeah, I mean,
He lives in Salt Lake.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I
Big
didn't
Cotton
know that.
Canyon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
what restaurant were we eating at? Like, we could just like walk up the road and like
Yeah.
get to it. It was like,
Our
Yeah.
guitarist Johnny, his grandparents
Okay.
have like a house up there, and they're like neighbors to Post Malone or something.
It's just like,
Yeah, we just
this
walk up
next
there.
door neighbor, kid.
Uh-huh.
He's a real hoop.
The white boy
Yeah, funny.
with all the
Oh.
tattoos on his face.
is that where you got the adult prom idea?
Exactly. Yeah. I love Post Malone.
Seems like
I want to meet him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
seems like a real fun
Yeah.
guy.
Okay, so this reminding me of another question we didn't write down, but we have to ask.
Yes.
We know this story, but tell us the story of where the name Adult Prom came from.
Oh boy.
So, that's always the dilemma, is finding a band name, right? Through the years, when we were teenagers and had a band, we were Imaginary Colors. We were Hayden's Day.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
forgot.
We were.
Weren't we Laney Randall or
I
something for
think
a
so.
while?
That would make sense. And that was always just like my biggest fear. Pretty much the number one reason why I wouldn't do a band, because it was just like, oh,
What
I have a
is-
band name, exactly. Trash lips
We
got
would
thrown around.
fight.
Anime Camp, Dead Kid Island.
Anime camp.
I
Those are
think-
all copyrighted, owned by me.
Yeah,
Those
you
are
gotta
your
use
album
use an anime camp because
Yes,
That's a good
I love that. So maybe making an album name or something.
yeah, I think so. I think down the road, we yeah, it was. I was living in Seattle with Jenica at the time. So it would have been like 2017, like around August or something. And we got a visit from the Sherwin Brothers podcast and their cousin. And we, they stopped by. We were living in the University District. And we're like, what do we do? And like, oh, let's go to Wallingford, the neighborhood next door. And so we walked down there, and on a side note, that drive or that walk is a ton of history. You got like the Blue Moon Bar, whatever that is.
Mm.
You got the Petco, where it used to be Beehive Records. You got Ben Gibbard's apartment that's like right by there. On our way to Dick's, which is the In-N-Out equivalent of the Pacific Northwest. And good burgers. I think
Yeah,
they're pretty good
pretty
burgers. Better fries than In-N-Out. But
I thought you were talking like Dick's Sporting Good.
and Dick's Sporting Goods.
I guess.
Combo.
Food, sports, and more. And we all went there, and that's the best part about eating at Dick's in Seattle is it's like super cheap there because Seattle's so expensive, and that's like surprisingly cheap to get like a combo meal there. And so this is all just a side note. It's just setting the scene for you. And we all were just eating there on the curb next to Dick's. We're just having a good time catching up, and then all of a sudden, you guys remember this? It's all these like limos or something. All these cars like we're pulling up right in front, like, getting off like 45th, and all it's the street, right? Something like that. And they all pulled into Dick's, and all these adults came out. It's like 35-year-olds in like prom outfits. And like, but they were like so bad. They were like quinceanera kind of a deal. Like, it was just like, it was terrible. And I just remember we were just mesmerized by this. We just kept looking, just being like, wow, what is going on, And we're just like, it's like some sort of adult prom. We're all just like, that's a good band name. And thinking about it and trying to put meaning to it, I think adult prom summed up is adult prom. Like it's sounds pathetic, but intriguing. Like that is just like I don't know about this, but we should probably go see what this is. So, I mean, because that was our experience with seeing an actual adult prom and stuff.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
and
like,
then they like got out of the limos, and we were sitting on a curb eating our burgers, and they like walked past us into the Dick's
Into the
restaurant,
Dick's
like the
restaurant,
back.
Yeah, like the owner came out.
It was like they went into a random room back,
the Tata sauce
like
room.
the kitchen area of Dick's, and just disappeared. Like 4 or 5 of these adult couples
Gave us all weird looks. It was
disappeared into like a rundown
Stupid
burger
hobo.
joint. Sometimes I think back and like I don't think it really happened. I think it was like some act of God. Like it's like what?
Oh yeah,
What?
it's well.
It was
again,
just a sign. For
there's
the
a,
band.
there's a block away down from Dick's is an edible, like a marijuana dispensary. I don't know. Like
It was a good burger.
it was a good burger. It was particularly delicious.
Jacob tried following them in, and it was like the door was closing, remember?
Yeah,
and they
that's
like
right.
turned around there. Yeah, like,
Leave this establishment.
yeah, I think the whole purpose of that trip was so we could all have that joint experience.
And I wrote that down.
Where was I?
It was when Tyler and I. It was when you came, and we went to see them in Vancouver, and you saw them here.
What a trip.
Yeah, I saw them by myself.
And you guys got robbed
We got-
and
we
destroyed.
In Canada,
Good thing I didn't go, I guess.
stranded in Vancouver. That was
Beautiful
to remember.
time. That was one of the funnest times of my life. I remember that. You guys getting stranded in Vancouver. That was hilarious. Just like that. I just remember writing that down on my phone. Just adult prom, being like, oh, gotta come back to this at some point. And like, I had to submit a. There was like this contest the Salt Lake Public Library was having. It was like you could submit your album, and if you like, if they choose it, you get like $100. And I was like, I could do that. Let's submit my EP or something like that. And I tried to submit it. And I was like, a name. Crap, like what do we do? And then I was like, oh, Trash Lips kind of sounds like too, like like the OCs or like Ty Segall or something else. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I go back to that adult prom. We try that. So we tried that, and I submitted it as that, and just like as in like I needed a name.
Mhm.
I was just like, let's just go with this, and it's just kind of stuck. It was like, well, we have to do this, and I have to explain people it over and over again to like where it was just like people were coming up to us. I was like, I thought it was adult porn.
It's
like,
always
I
like,
sure hope so. like, so that's just always we have to do a T-shirt or something that says adult porn or something, because that was just like the joke for
But
like
do
ever.
like PORM,
Uh-huh.
like switch the R and the
Yeah.
O. So it's just porn.
When-
Porn.
when I showed the cards he made to like my kid, to my family, check this out. I'm like, oh, okay. It says adult prom, not.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
analrapist from the rest of the film. It's not the spelling I was concerned about. That was too funny, man.
Well, on that note,
Wait. I'm not done yet.
oh,
Can this be like a 3-hour
Yeah.
Joe Rogan podcast?
We're going until like
Can
Can we
somebody
go
passes
into
out.
conspiracies, ghost stories, and UFOs?
I go into
Okay.
everything.
surprising amount of
I go into
conspiracy
anything.
talking
Not this is not conspiracy. This is legit.
Okay.
I talked to my uncle, who is an ER doctor up in Salt Lake, and they like earlier this year NASA sent out this thing. They're like, hey, we're looking for doctors to like help with space stuff, pretty much. So, anyways, he is now training in the NASA space program.
Wait,
And,
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
not like the space program. It's called the NASA Medical Program. Sorry. I don't know. But anyways, it's part of the NASA medical
Everyone's just
program.
like, we get busted.
FBI.
The fucking window. Just all these people come.
But he's like, so he's been following NASA and then putting out stuff, whatever. But he's saying like, this is legit happening. Like, people are going to space right now, and by like 2025, there's gonna be rotating space hotels.
Okay, I saw that, and I don't believe it.
I believe it. I believe
That's
it.
the thing. He was like,
2025, that's 5 years.
yeah, he was like, here's the thing, is like, you know, it's like space has been like this big talk and everything for a long time, but he's like, I've been like listening to the NASA podcast, and they're like, guys, like, this is serious right now. Like, people are going to the moon, they're going to space.
The moon, I can see the moon.
People are setting up, like, there's companies who are like building the space hotels to be launched into orbit and like the whole 9 yards. It's like,
I'm skeptical.
and they're like, they think space tourism, it's going to be one of those things, you know, like only the ultra rich will get it for like the next 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like going to be a thing. Like, you're going to go stay in a hotel in space.
I can see it.
2001 Space Odyssey. It's like the
that's the thing.
rotating.
They thought that would be a thing by 2001. They, you know.
But now you
But
have
it's
like
happening. I mean,
SpaceX
2021.
and Blue Origin. You have all these rocket
That's true. There's
companies.
a lot of awesome things happening, and I love space, and I'm quite the spaceman myself. But I'm skeptical.
I could see it because there are so many just like huge private companies. Because that was always like the thing that was like only the government can send you to space, and now it's just like, no, Elon Musk and Grimes
Yeah.
will send you to space.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. He's
Uh-huh.
like, he's competing with Elon Musk. He's like, we're
Oh,
getting
yeah.
people to space, so we're gonna do it better, whatever.
Jenica's cousin actually like works for the Jeff Bezos company.
Really?
Yeah, and he's just, I just guess has all these like bananas, like, you know, projects he's working on
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's just like, oh, it's happening, man.
So
It's crazy.
So what we're saying is either through Jenica or through our uncle, we're gonna get a hookup to go to
We're gonna
space.
get
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna find a way.
I think my uncle's, he's like, the training he's doing is more to like be on site when the rocket lands in case something goes wrong. Because there's like all this different, you know, it's like when your body's been in space for X amount of time, they're like
You
medical
lose your bones.
differences.
They
Yeah.
just get this big shovel and just scoop you.
Oh, make me whole again.
Rehydrate you.
I'm just putting back like the bone structure of Brad Pitt or something. Just like, I'm sorry.
I'm just picturing Gumby putting people back together. All flimsy.
Ooh. I want it to happen, man.
My goal in life is to be able to see the Earth from space before I die. So hopefully they'll have
It's
a
gonna
send
happen, man.
Yeah, I think so. Send an old man to space program, where like you're old man and like they'll
Make a
subsidize
wish
you
for
to go and like yeah, it's like make a wish and
It's part
then
of your social security.
and then you go over and you're like, oh,
Everybody
wow,
gets one space trip.
this is amazing.
One-way trip.
And then that's it. They have this red handle, and then you're like, when you're ready, you just pull it and just. It's just pretty good. You just
Child
blast
with
it
an
out.
airlock.
Watch after Earth, like, I'm ready to come back now. Oh, no. I'm here forever.
This is the lady on the intercom. But Mr. Martell, I'm sorry, but you have to pull the lever. We can't get you back out. This is a one-way trip, sir.
You ever heard of this lost cosmonauts?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
dude. They freaking get fried up.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
like
charcoal.
the Soviets, I don't know how true this
Like
is.
gravity.
Oh
But,
no,
like,
it's true. It's on Danger Dolan.
Danger Dolan.
Whatever happened to that?
I guess they were these like Italian ham radio enthusiasts or something, that they would listen into all these like the Soviets, because they were so close to the Soviet Union, so they could like really hone in on like the radio transmissions and stuff that they were making. And I guess they were like recording it. You can find them on YouTube, like recordings of like people just being like, I'm burning up, help, 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 like in Russian.
What?
And then like it would just like cut out. But like the Soviet Union was just like, when pressed on this, they're like, lost cosmonauts? Was there anybody who's put into space and didn't come back? No. That's never happened. And
We have found Russian boys in space. They are very
very strong.
They come back home to Mother Russia, and we are okay.
Because it's like I guess like the U.S. we had like plenty of like crazy casualties, but they all happen on Earth.
Mm.
Yeah.
and they weren't.
So then, like the
Secret.
Challenger.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they
Exactly.
were always like
Yeah.
publicized, and it was really
Uh-huh.
sad.
It was on
I'm
the
like,
news.
whoa,
Yeah.
like our astronaut died. That's like our hero.
Like
I'm surprised more didn't die.
that's the freaky thing about space travel that's gonna happen. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
like,
there's
what
gonna be more
happens
accidents.
when like Justin Bieber and Alec Baldwin's daughter, whoever he's married to, get shot up into space, and yeah, something happens because like that's gotta be bound to happen.
Yeah, there's like even just to launch a rocket, you go through like so many tests, and I don't know. But yeah, it is. It's like it's only a matter of time before it's like on the news, you know.
Oh yeah.
A like misprojected satellite crashed straight into this like orbiting hotel and blew it to pieces. and-
Which side question is when you die in space, like if like like the accidents that happen, and on Wikipedia where it says like place of like death, where did they say
What?
like died in space? Like
Well,
what?
it's
Yeah.
pretty much like international waters, right? Like it's kind
Yeah,
of like once you're in
so.
space, I think it's pretty. There's no like
There's no
government,
space
there's no
law.
laws anymore. Yeah.
The other thing too is like people, people are going to Mars. Right now, I think it's just like considered international territory. But then there's people who are like, well, we could map it out and start selling chunks of land, and you could buy like an acre on Mars for
Imagine
$35 or something.
Wild West laws on Mars.
Yeah.
Mars
That's
justice.
Guns.
Well, here's the
Space
yeah.
Western right there.
I want Tarantino to make a
For
Ooh,
real.
Mars
Mars
justice.
Well, what's his
Like
name?
a Mach
Super,
50s show.
super.
Have you guys
violent.
ever
Yeah.
read a Louis L'Amour book?
I don't read.
Oh no! Yeah.
Okay, they're like these old Western, but anyways, for random reasons I won't go into, I read his autobiography earlier this year, and he talked like he explained like all the things that I write and fascinate me are like frontier life.
Right.
So he like knew all about the West and the battles and the cowboys and all that jazz. But and then he talks for like a brief minute. He's like, the next frontier, everybody says like the next frontier is space, but he's like,
Mhm.
but like it's when we go to Mars, or the moon, which is only inevitable at this point, it's gonna be like a similar way that we look back on like the cowboys.
Yeah.
It's like they went and like settled that place.
Mars
And, like,
justice.
yeah. And then you're gonna have like countries, vying for like power over like specific
Yeah.
regions. It's gonna be
Tallest
like
mountain.
it's gonna be like
Very similar to
settler
Rocket
pioneer
Man.
going on. So, yes.
Just lots
Well,
of.
we have to snag Tycho, the crater Tycho or something on the moon.
What's that?
That's where they find the monolith.
Oh, in
2001.
2001.
Oh,
Yes.
I was thinking of the
right.
band.
Me too. I was like,
No,
yeah,
like
they have pretty
I mean,
good
we got
space
Tycho.
movies.
Pretty trippy.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man.
And the first person to run into Alien, they're screwed.
Or The Thing.
Or the Thing.
I haven't seen that yet. I was supposed to come watch it with you.
That's
Isn't it pretty
Yeah,
old?
you guys got
What
The
was
Thing.
Thing is
It's like an 80s thriller movie.
Oh.
It's way good.
Wait, that's
they're in,
not-
like,
that's
they're in
not-
like Antarctica.
It has Kurt Russell.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. It's a great
That is-
movie.
You know what we have to watch? That it's 'tis the season, and I haven't watched it. I've just heard all about it. Is Troll 2?
Not Trolls
Oh,
2.
no, there
Troll
wasn't.
2,
That's the thing.
DreamWorks.
There wasn't like I guess a Troll 1. They just made a Troll 2.
No,
What?
don't they talk about this on Joe Rogan?
I think no.
I
Yeah,
think
no,
they
yeah.
do.
Patrick Carney. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what. Yeah, we have to see it. I have never seen it.
All right.
Everyone's
Heard
talking
about
about it. It's
this.
like the room of horror movies. That's the one where like the kid is like, they're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god! Like, oh no, we have to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, Patrick was saying that it was like supposed to be like the best of the terrible movies.
Interesting.
Oh, we gotta see it, man. Like, it looks so good. I haven't seen The Room in a while.
Yeah, I was just thinking I haven't seen The Room in a while.
I watched The Room like.
Hey, are we gonna do that for Halloween?
Oh.
I'll be Denny.
Oh yeah.
That's
Danny,
I
Danny,
forgot
Danny.
about that.
Oh my god.
Who was I? Was I gonna be? The...
You're Mark.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You and Miranda are that weird couple.
Yeah, they're just making out the whole time.
The goat.
Chocolate.
Chocolates. Yum.
You're Tommy himself.
Tom.
What's the girlfriend's name?
Lisa.
That's you, Jen.
Okay, Jen will feature this. So we're talking about with Ken and John about our Halloween costumes because we're gonna be Xanadu.
Oh,
Look
Of
at
course.
you, John, and
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was talking about how like this year my beard and my hair is like perfect to pull off the Clint Eastwood and Fistful of Dollars.
Oh,
And I was
that's
like,
true.
I want to do that this year. And then McKenna was like, whoa. And I was like, and then Miranda was like, but who am I going to be? And I was like, you're like the girl that's in the movie, you know?
Uh-huh.
And McKenna was like, all right, Miranda, let me tell you something right now. She's like, in marriage, you have to put your foot down when it comes to Halloween costumes. Here's what she said. Like, she's like, always ask, what's the girl's name? And if they can't answer, don't be that. And she was like, you are better than being the girl from the movie. Like, and her whole thing was like, if the guy can't name the name of the girl in the movie, then don't be the couple costume.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
That is a good plan.
I can get one.
Yeah. I wanted to be this Halloween. We're actually playing the Buzzards and Bees, is what it's called.
Oh,
a
yeah.
Music Halloween festival thing. It's on October 26th. I don't know where we're going to play. They haven't released that yet, but we're playing that. And yeah, I'm just trying to think of like a good costume. I thought Wednesday Addams. I hate the Addams family. But like I was just like, man, when you're on stage, you just want to wear like a short skirt so bad. Like I always want to. We have kind of before.
Or short shorts.
Yeah, Gordon, like, yeah. But like, you're like, oh, that might be a good idea. But oh, the room, I forgot about that. We've been putting that
for
off
your
too
band, you
long.
guys should be Lebowski. You could be Lebowski, and then James could be the
Oh, John Goodman's character.
John Goodman character.
The
Yeah,
Market
like
Zero.
the big dude.
Yeah. And Johnny could be Donnie. Uh-huh. You're out of your element. And then Ethan
Or
could,
he could be the Germans.
oh, or we could all be Autobahn from the Big Lebowski with Flea and that one Russian or Swedish dude. Oh shit! Oh, Halloween.
I can never think of what to do. I made my Dead Space costume, and ever since then, I was just like,
That was
Down there.
amazing.
I was just like,
That
too
was
much-
our best Halloween costume wise. All of
Oh
us.
yeah. Wait, what did you? You were
Dude from the movie Royal Tenenbaums.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Richie Tenenbaum. And then Jenica was
Weren't you
Margot.
Kurt Cobain
Yeah.
last year?
what?
Kurt Cobain, weren't you?
Yeah,
No,
no,
you were.
I was Courtney Love.
Yeah,
and
you were.
That
Jenica
was like
Kurt
4 years.
Cobain.
I think that was right when I got back from my mission. That was like 2015.
For the Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, that was
No,
recent.
the Tenenbaum.
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. That's right.
That was when you did that specific.
We went to like a youth. No, college institute.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! And there was freaking my old roommate there. I won't say his
Yeah.
name, but man,
Ethan's
oh
psycho
man,
roommate.
oh man, he was there.
My home teacher.
Oh, home creature.
Home creeper.
I wonder what happened to him. I'm sure he's gotta be
Probably in the same place.
Probably.
Where are we still at that dance?
Just
not like I
slow zoom out like at the end of The Shining.
Uh-huh.
Like, slow-
Yeah.
Just
It's just
whatever.
October, like 31st, 1925. That's a good movie, The Shining.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it. I need to
wow.
rewatch that this
That's
year.
great. That's beyond horror movies. I think that's just one of my
That's
favorite
got-
movies in general.
Yeah.
That's how the thing is for me. Like after watching the thing, I was like, that's like
with Jeff Goldblum.
No,
No,
no.
oh my gosh, that's the fly.
no, that's the one we were just talking about.
yeah.
With
Yeah.
Kurt Russell. Like it was like after watching, it's like that's like a great horror movie, but that's just a good
Just a
movie.
good movie
Like you're just like,
overall.
oh, it's so good. Yeah, The Shining was similar. Just
Oh,
like,
Scott Wendy Carlos is the composer.
God bless
That
Wendy
was
Carlos.
I've listened through the soundtrack, and it's even just sitting and listening to that.
It's intense.
It's
scary.
you get the.
That's
they
what
get
that's what makes that
uncomfortable.
movie. I
Bella
think.
Bartok.
Yeah, Bella
And-
Bartok, which like
didn't grow up like he wasn't in the Holocaust,
Polish-
but yeah,
Polish
he
guy, I
like
think,
saw the
Polish?
Holocaust.
Mhm.
So like that's all his influence was absolute chaos and darkness.
Yeah, like you put those two together, that's like the ultimate freaky show of music.
Low synthesizers.
It works so well.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
I remember we used to listen to Wendy Carlos in my basement with the lights off.
That's what I love about your family. It's just like because I thought I always grew up like thinking I had these like hipster experiences like like my dad actually played the Smiths for me in high school, so I kind of got into that before everybody else did. I had the first exclamation point band in my middle school, but yeah, your family is like we just would watch like Koyaanisqatsi
Koyaanisqatsi.
in the basement and listen to Philip Glass. And
Philip Glass.
I was just like, oh my gosh.
We're a weird bunch.
You're the twins from the National. That's all they do now. Just write like crazy music because that's all they're listening to.
It's hard to find those old artists.
It is.
Like they're like I swear they pay people just to like shoot down someone like uploads their music. It's like,
No
Dad,
wonder.
I want to listen to it. I want to rip out my dad's old vinyls and like try to freaking clean the needle and
Well, you know what they do? This is what they do for like our music and everything. Like if you go through a distributor, so like if I wanted my music on Spotify and iTunes and all that, I'd have to go through a distributor where they would be like, "We'll put your music out there, but we take a cut." And you're like, "Okay, just bite the bullet and do it." But we have a really good distributor that I've really enjoyed, and
I think I want to use that.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Lander.
Yeah, Lander.
Lakeview Lander, and it's like that was like the only one I knew at the time. I was like, might as well. I
I've
don't know
done
how
a
much
lot
of
of
a joke it is, but like
research on those. And it's like,
that one's pretty
there's
good.
some weird ones like we own your soul, but
Uh-huh.
it's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, just
It won't
breathe
be a
in,
problem.
idiot. And like, but they go, they have your song and like you get to like you can choose to monetize your videos on YouTube. And so I'll say like,
So they do all that too.
yeah, oh yeah,
Hmm.
and like so like I'll have the whole EP. That's the only thing I've like officially released is like the adult prom EP, whatever, 6 songs on there, and like you can, if I can explain this right, like if somebody else posts one of your songs, like say Tyler, like you upload an adult prom song or something, the algorithm, the monster that YouTube has will they'll hear the audio and just whatever they do, whatever that algorithm is, they can recognize it and just be like, oh, that's that adult prom song, and then the credits will automatically just be slapped onto that and it's monetized, so we get the money instead of you getting the money. And
That's right.
That's right.
I
So
wanted the money.
and so like there's some bands that would just be like, it's like, yeah, you can't like just go out and post like us, we don't care, but like big labels and stuff like Warner Brothers or something, if you have a song, or if you like post like an ELO song, I don't know, I'm just making it up, and you post that without their permission, they're going to take it down because they own it, because they can use that algorithm and everything. So yeah, that's why like they'll post like some like rare cool album. I should be like, oh, finally, and you have that for like 5 seconds, and then YouTube's like, sorry, like you can't have it anymore because we, Warner Brothers or Sony or one of the Satan.
I always wondered that because like the Vegas trip we did, I
Yeah.
made the video and I just put like Future Islands music on it, and it's still on YouTube. But it's like the full blown song.
You know
so
what
like,
you did though? You should look at it and see
is it
if like
because I put like credits or something?
well, you should
No.
look and see if there's like a credit attached to it, like if in the video description it says Future Islands, whatever that song.
So they're probably making money from that.
Well, maybe, but then
if
there
you
is
didn't-
fair use too, because you
Right.
did edit some of the song, like you put the
True.
audio from the video.
But you didn't monetize the video, I don't think. You
No.
have to choose to put ads in your own video.
That's true.
So it won't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was a long time before. I don't know.
That was before like the whole apocalypse.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch that video. It's a good video.
The Vegas trip.
Yeah,
That's
that's
you haven't
such
seen
a.
that?
I have. It's just been a while.
Oh.
It's just such a good time.
No.
It's called, if you
That's
look
so
up on
good.
YouTube, European Vegas.
Yeah, it's European Vegas.
European Vegas, Austin Sherwin, and it's a
2015 or
gorgeous
something.
video.
2016.
2016.
Oh, it's
Oh,
so
that's
fun.
good.
I think that was the last good trip I'll ever have in my life.
Again, that's probably the last like concert that I was in the pit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
remember-
true.
I remember we were in the pit. It was Vegas, like 107 degrees
It
in
was
the
so
nighttime.
fun.
and,
Like
the-
15-year-olds being idiots.
yeah, and it was September 2nd. I remember our anniversary the year before,
September 2nd was a good day.
and like, oh yeah, and like, yeah, there's all those teenagers like, who had like alcohol in the water bottle, and
Yeah.
then like this
Here's
one
what's
kid
over
who
vodka.
chewed acid. I saw. That was
Really?
pretty insane. 14-year-old stupid kid to do. But yeah, I just remember like, you know, the bands that were going on before, like, you know, they played and it was fun. The crowd was cool.
Yeah, it was just like DuckTales.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and dinner.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Dinner, I forgot about
Great.
Put your hands in the
Put your
air.
hands in the air. He has a song called "Girl" that's amazing. But he, I remember Matt came on, and I was getting worried. I was just like, I don't know about this. And I remember, he was going. I saw his set list, and like he was playing the slow song. I can't remember what it was. It was probably like Chamber of Reflection. That's what he was opening with. And so I was like, I was getting pretty panicked. Like, we should probably get out of the crowd. Like, I'm getting pushed around. I mean, it's still pretty calm, but it was the calm before the storm. And just kind of like, you know, something was going to happen. And I was like, in my toms, they're slippery with my sweat. I was like, oh, I'm going to go down. Like, I'm a big fat boy, but I'm going to go down. Like, these teenagers are going to kill me. And then, like, all of a sudden, Matt came out to some band doing a cover of Serge Gainsbourg, Harley Davidson.
So that was like the.
Oh,
that was like
yeah.
the
Yeah. Oh no, he came out to
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
He was like
yeah.
doing like all these
Harley
dances.
David.
yeah.
And he like and he came out and he's like, all right, this song's called 7 Days. And Jesus.
It was insane.
I've
right?
seen like the Wall of Death, and like, you know, the Lamb of God concert or whatever. I've seen like, you know, Rage Against the Machine, Death Grips. I've personally been to like Tyler the Creator, seen how crazy the mosh pit gets there. I have never seen a crowd as scary as Mac DeMarco. And it was during Salad Days when it hit, and I just
Yeah,
was
I
like,
remember.
falling over, and I was like, Jenica, we need to leave. And so I just grabbed her. We were just like, we were punching children in the face, just trying to get out of there. Just like, I can't do this. I can't be here anymore. I'm so hot. And I was just like, it was just you know, like Finding Nemo when he's like, they're all in the stupid that
Separate.
damn fishnet, and they're just like,
Yeah.
Nemo. It was that, just like, oh, I just felt like, you know, Ellen DeGeneres calling over there, and like, and then we just finally busted out of there.
I got pushed to the front, so I was like, I guess I might as well stay here. It was,
Yeah, we got
We're like locked down on our rails.
and like I
spot. We
see you
both
guys
got a
every
hand on
once
the
in a
rail,
while.
and
It's
then-
like,
yeah, these like 14-year-old girls would try and like tear us off the rail. We're like,
Yeah,
"You're
they were
6 foot
aggressive."
tall men.
Yeah.
We will not be
Listen,
moved.
you were not moving.
I was torn asunder. I was thrown in the back, and
I should've just-
we just went in the pool.
I should have just done it. I think I would have enjoyed
No,
it so
yeah.
much more.
Yeah, we
just
You
going
have
back.
to, it's either get the rail or you die.
Uh-huh.
Rail or bail.
Rail or bail.
There's one concert. I've decided like one concert I would go down in like general admission and just be there, and that's LCD Sound System.
Yeah.
And that's like they're like I think they're the last band on my like top 5 list that I've never seen. But I'm like, one day I will go see them. And I'm just gonna lose it, and it's you know like throw caution to the wind
Yeah.
down in the
True
general
true
admission.
acid.
Just is gonna be.
I don't know if you know about this. I don't know if you're going to kick yourself in the ass for this, but 2007, Arcade Fire with LCD Sound System at Thanksgiving Point.
I know.
And it was the Neon Bible tour, too. And these Sounds of
in
Silver
their
tour.
prime.
Ooh, James Murphy. A delicious piece of cake.
Ugh.
Just right on stage. Just like, Daft Punk is back in my house. And then, like, Arcade Fire coming out with them, and they're all playing Talking Heads.
Oh,
This
man.
must be the place.
Well, at least we saw the Suburbs tour.
Yeah.
You know what? That
That
tour,
was
after I
incredible.
saw that show, I couldn't like write songs. Like I just always felt like it was just like if I write songs, it was like that Arrested Development that we watched. That was like, and Michael got sad, so we took out the old guitar. It was just, your eyes, yeah, and then drop the guitar. Like I always felt like it was like that. Like I could play other people's songs just fine, and I would come up with little ideas every now and then, but I could never write a song. And after that show, something just clicked where I was just like, oh, I think I can write a song. And I wrote this one song. It was my first like real song called States.
I remember that.
Oh
That
yeah,
song.
I remember States. That was a good song.
That was a fun song.
You should bring it back.
I should. That was that chord there. That's like one of my favorite. I don't even know what that chord's called, but it's yeah. It was just like after that, it was like I think I can write music, and then like after that, it was like writing songs, and I think Austin, you were the only person I would show anything to. Just be like, dude, I got this song.
You showed me some stuff.
I did. That's true. I showed you. Whatever. I did. No, I did show you States. I was thinking like that.
I had a CD of like all the stuff you'd written. It was like 8 songs or something.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I never.
I should find
Rush
that.
Shit. I don't know if it's
We
still.
should
It might
find
still be
it.
in the graphic actually.
That
I wonder. I have my small collection of CDs.
You need to bring back that one song.
It's
which one?
this large.
Oh,
These are all the
jeepers.
CDs I have now. But I don't think
Is one of those dashboard?
No.
Okay, that's what it looked like.
I've got some Shake and Echo. I've got
Ooh, you got Shaken Echo?
Mud Bison.
No way! Is that a real live Mud Bison age? Shouts out
is-
to Mud Bison.
Yeah, this
man.
is Russell's
Spencer
first
Russell.
show. And this is our wedding video, I think. And then there's this band in Provo called Coup de Grace.
That's the Coup de Grace album?
And yeah, Shake and Echo.
I forgot about that.
I don't think I have your CD, sorry.
That's okay, but Shaken Echo, can I see that? Can
Yeah.
I see the Shaken Echo?
This is back when Valora was like way
Ooh,
really good.
That
stuff.
would go
for real. This was like,
This is like
look at that, man.
Is this
Book
the
on
one?
Tapeworm's album is still like the most beautiful CD case ever.
Look at that. Oh,
I don't know where that
jeez.
babushka doll
see
is.
that.
How did?
but-
Yeah, look at this. Was that what you want to see?
That ended a while
Russell,
ago.
who was Mud Bison?
Mud Bison.
Instagram.
Let me tell you.
Wait, what?
Oh,
The
this is
Instagram.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it like
Yeah.
ended it.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
I think it,
It said you can add it to your
Oh,
story
this
or
pop-up
delete
thing.
it.
I don't know. Shouts out to Book on Tapeworm.
I didn't know what
Such
you
a great
Okay.
band. Shouts out to
Scott
Shaken
Shepherd
Echo.
Boys.
They're dead.
Yeah.
but
I think I wonder if they have a
Very fun.
time limit or
I
something.
think so. Yeah, I think it hit like an hour.
That
Man.
Mud Bison was I kind of knew the music scene in Provo growing up. Like I had a buddy that took me to Valor for the very first time, like end of 2007, and that concert was Isaac Russell, Palomino, who is now the Devil Whale. I'm not sure if they're still around, but it was the Devil Whale, and then Joshua James. That concert blew me away. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I want to come here all the time. And then we had like some buddies like playing this band called Shake and Echo. I think the guitarist of that band is yeah, he's in Desert Noises now.
Blake?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh,
no.
you're thinking of Brennan Lethbridge.
Brent,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's the
yeah.
drummer.
He's and
I was like, Blake is doing a PhD at MIT.
Yeah.
he's going somewhere in life.
Yeah.
and like no, and like it was, that was like always so exciting. Oh man, I want to play a show. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
To be all like, you just hear, the folk scene out of there, Joshua James, Devil Whale, Mathematics, etc. These are all just early bands, and there was this one dude who stood out from the rest. That was Spencer Russell, and he just made this incredible music. Oh, it was so simple. It sounded like songs you just have known all your life. You're just like, I've heard that before. Just like it was familiar for some reason. It was all just kind of like simple kind of stuff, a lot like a more uniform Daniel Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
And which, side note, we were playing a Daniel Johnston tribute show October
Oh, yeah,
13th
I saw that.
at the Urban Lounge.
Your cover was so good.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We had some good. We practiced on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, you guys gotta come.
Yeah, I'm coming to that show.
It's gonna
It was fun.
It's yeah, we got some like ruckus, pretty stuff coming. But Spencer, yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy gets it. This is it. And so I was a fan forever and would go to all of his shows. And then he started a band called Mud Bison. He had that album, the album A. It's actually on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
That's cool.
only found that out like
You want to go
like a
listen
few
to
months
the
ago.
Mailman song?
Oh, so good. And he had a song called Monday. I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
I always try
That's
to
a good one.
bug him to say like, send me that song, and he's just like, I don't know where it is. But it's such a
That'd be-
beautiful song. Like it really is just like I still to this day it's one of my favorite songs. And I just asked one day like we should jam, because it was supposed to like he played this concert and I asked him to dedicate a song to this girl. And he totally spaced on it. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. I was like, it's all good. We should jam. He's like, yeah, we're actually looking for a bass player. And I came in and played bass for him. But to his credit, and Godspeed, God bless Spencer Russell, because I was an embarrassment. Like I was playing like this prog rock muse, just bassy, beefy, fast, like ridiculous lines and stuff, and like it was showboating. And Spencer just kind of like guided me to just be like, okay, like he would say, like, save the showboating, don't do that, essentially, and just simplify it, do this, and then you could and then you start feeling your way in. So, and it was like, oh, okay. So once it was like I could simplify it, it was just like, oh, this is just like everything fell into place, and like he was so cool that he just like let me play bass in his band, and it was just like we got to play with like Imagine Dragons back in when they were still like just local band, and like got to play with all these really cool bands, Starlight Mints. It was a really cool honor, and it was just like a really cool experience. It was like of like how to approach songwriting and then how to perform, and then because like I didn't know what I was doing, and he was just kind of big brothered and was just like, you just got to do this and this and this, and it was just like, oh, okay, that's what I'm missing. And so that's Mud Bison, man. I'm glad you have that album.
Yeah.
That is such a
That's why that's
classic, man.
withstood the test of digital
Many moves.
music.
I think that's still probably my favorite local act that's ever been is Mud Bison,
Mhm.
because they were just so cool. And then like, but there's so many great bands, local bands right now, especially like Dad Bod. Again, I can't praise Dad Bod enough. They're so nice.
I love their album and their song
good.
Enough.
Ooh, enough.
It sounds like I'm like, what does this sound like? It sounds like good heist music. Because if you're gonna perform a heist, put on Enough by Dad Bod.
I probably will at some
Alright.
point. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
And they're getting like some good amount of
They're
listens
getting
too.
up there, man. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna be the next big thing.
Yeah.
I think Backseat Lovers is gonna
Move to
they're
LA.
gonna make it somewhere, and then Dad Bod's gonna take their place, and then they're gonna
They're on
move to
tour
LA
right now. Backseat Lovers.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like Canada right now or something like that. I think they just played Idaho.
we'll have to get Josh on the show.
Oh, that would be he totally would, man. They are. James was actually telling us this. He's like, I've never seen anything like so close to Beatlemania than I did like seeing the Backseat Lovers. Like
That's true.
in Provo.
You
Like,
know who's like
yeah.
one of the biggest fans of Backseat Lovers?
huh?
Bella Hinkle.
Yeah.
That's that age
She's
group
like,
too.
yeah,
For
no, like
context of
all
the
the
show,
high
this is
school
the high
kids.
school.
Oh, because
We
like
have to edit that name out, I guess.
Yeah.
Might be something like
he like it's yeah no
Yeah.
it's
like
like
it's like all the high school girls.
It's the
love
high
school
the
girls.
Backseat Lovers.
not only is Josh just like he's a beautiful boy, but and everybody else in that band too. But they're so catchy.
Mhm.
They're so just like they just have that like they just captured so much energy, and it's just his voice is incredible. And it's like we got to play a show with them a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago,
Really? Yeah, it was recent.
and at this in this half pipe, and it was a good. Tyler was there. That's right. And
We should have had you come on stage.
Oh, should have.
Next time.
Ethan was like on top of the half pipe. Slid down
I was like,
from
I
the-
gotta get up there.
Oh, that's so good.
It was an incredible show.
That was, I think, my favorite show.
That was a great one.
I think even more than that first Battle of the Band show.
Ooh, it's true, like because it was just such a good energy, such a good vibe. They just have a great fan base. And so,
Yeah, the crowd was amazing. They actually
Yeah.
stayed for all the acts.
yeah,
Yeah,
like-
that's cool. Yeah, they didn't all show up for the third act.
Yeah.
yeah. Like it was really cool. So shouts out to them. They're killing it. Dad bod. Man, there's just so much.
I came up
Yeah,
with
going
an
around.
incredible bass line on Matthew's bass. When we went and jammed with them,
Mm-hmm.
that's that. I've been looking for this bass line for like some really funky roller skate pop, you know? I
Yes.
finally figured it out, but only on Matthew's bass.
Nice. What kind of bass is it?
I don't remember.
It's a Squire,
This is like a
but it's got like those flat.
yeah, those
strings.
flatline strings on bass is just
Ooh, there's just something to it, and it's just that little. And it's like a Fender like quarter size, whatever they're called.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's just like
Three-quarters.
yeah, 3/4, yeah.
I love
It's
I
like
think
playing like a
same-
guitar.
I think
Oh,
it's the same. I think it's a
beautiful.
full. I think it's
Was it a full?
Yeah.
I thought it was smaller.
It just seems smaller because my bass is so big.
That's true. You have a tree.
I know. The smallest boy in the band is the biggest instrument.
It's like it's like
Someday you should just show up with a stand-up bass.
Uh-huh.
I'll
This is
cry.
terrible.
is it
gosh.
Tina Weymouth? Mouth? I can't remember her name. The bassist of the Talking Heads. She's like itty bitty, and she just plays like a full like Fender P. Just boom, 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 boom. Like it's insane.
Yeah, I want to get a 3/4 because I'm like 3/4 size person. So maybe.
And
They
they're-
sound so good. They're
Yeah,
so-
What's
I
that
feel like
one?
I would
Funky.
play one.
What's that one we were looking at? It was like
Where?
$550.
Oh yeah, and then they had like a Squire one for like 150, Squire version, and it was
Oh really?
yeah, I felt like it was just like the same
I should
quality.
get that.
You should.
Shit.
I feel like if I get another bass, then I'm cheating on the bass I have now.
Well, that's what I gotta get another guitar. Mine's
What are you
Right,
guys'
bucket.
dream? If you could like set
Get
up
any
or buy any instrument, like any bass, any guitar, what would you get?
Rickenbacker.
A Rickenbacker bass. You could be like Scott Pilgrim.
Those things are. I mean, I know it's just like everyone wants those, and they're like super expensive. Like, oh, you got a Rickenbacker, but
They're cool.
they have
They're-
a sound to them.
they
There's a
are.
reason.
There's
They're like
something else,
punchy. Yeah.
and they're like old too. And, like they figured out the way bass should sound years
I
ago.
feel like they're
and
not that expensive. Like they're not that much more than like a nice Fender Jazz or
$1,500 or
something.
something
Yeah.
like that.
No, I looked. They're like $2,000.
Really?
$2,500. Maybe I just need to go get like one of those Chinese versions.
Oh, dude, I did. Oh my gosh, I did. I bought like
that's
a
right.
$400 like chicken bockers. What they're called. I was such an idiot. Like I spent like $400 on like essentially garbage. Like it just like it was just the whole setup of the guitar was just like total ski wampus. Like it just
The
is.
neck is like this.
Yeah, it is. It's like the fret
Warts
is like
all around.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
goes.
I work with all these like incredible guitar technicians, and they're I was asking like, what do you think went wrong? They're just like everything. They didn't wait for like the wood to dry enough, so like the inlays of like the fretboard are just like popping out. Like it's terrible. And oh yeah, no, it's just
They
just
cut
a
down a
travesty.
fresh
Well,
tree,
the sad part.
shape it right there into the guitar, and then they're like, here you go. Still got like a leaf on it.
Well, the sad part is for that same amount of money, you could get like a pretty good like Mexican Fender.
oh yeah, MIM.
Yeah, that sounds like beautiful still, you know.
And they're actually like I think we talked about this where it was like back in the 90s. That the Fender has factories everywhere, and like the most expensive one is the one that's located in America, and those ones go up in price like a lot. but like you could, if you buy like an American, or if you bought a Fender made in Mexico or like Taiwan or something like that, like or Korea, I can't remember where
It
it
is
is.
Japan.
Is it Japan?
That's what they do now. Is
Yeah.
Mexico and Japan.
They like it's a lot more. I mean, it's still expensive. It's the name brand thing, but it's like a lot cheaper. But I guess there was a fire in the '90s, like at the Fender plant or something like that, and like they didn't want to be short on stock. Like they want to keep making things, so they're like, okay, we salvaged the bodies. We just need to get necks. Let's ship out all these like American-made necks, and so there was like, and that's like the rumor. I don't know how like how founded that is, but like there's like supposedly Frankenstein Fender guitars that are like half American made, half Mexican made. Like I don't know if mulatto is politically correct, but it's like that kind of a guitar. I don't know if that's politically correct. I think it is. I don't know.
But it's a compliment.
I
in
have
this scenario because it's a
Latino
beautiful guitar.
grandparents or ancestors, so I can maybe say that once a day. But like, yeah, no, they make really good guitars. If I were to have a dream guitar, I always wanted Fender Jazzmaster. I believe that was made by Johnny Marr.
Yeah.
Or like that was the signature series.
Yeah.
And I went to a studio in Seattle. This guy had everything in the studio. He's like, we have all these, whatever drum kit you want, from like Tama to Yamaha. We have like any guitar you want, like we have any bass you want. We have, and I was like, do you have that guitar, like the Johnny Marr guitar? He's like, yeah. So he brought it out and he put in this nice amp, and I was like in the studio, like, okay. And I played it, and it sounded great, but it was like something was wrong with it. Just like I was just like, it just didn't feel right. I was just like, no, it's like my dream guitar, like this American-made, beautiful guitar. And then I was like, maybe try a Jag. Try the Jag, and it was still great, but it was just like I just felt like it just didn't feel right. And then they had like the freaking guitar from Wayne's World, like the Strat, like the stereotypical like Hendrix
Strat,
like beautiful Olympic white finish with like a maple, like all natural neck, and I was just like, that's the poser guitar. Like I don't want it. I'll try it, and I played it, and I just fell in love with it. I was just like, this is the guitar for a reason. So I want that guitar so bad. So
I miss your Starcaster. That thing was
that
so
Starcaster was something else, man. That had just had such a warm tone to it.
Yeah.
Oh, so
cool. Like
beautiful.
those semi-hollows.
I think there's something to be said about like crappy instruments.
That's true.
Like your bass,
Pawn shop bass.
dude. I don't know what that is, but like sometimes I don't know how I did it, but when I made that song a while ago, I was making you guys play. I recorded the bass with your old strings on it. Like I don't think you'd ever take them off.
They were like 4-year-old strings.
They were so old. Like I was getting slivers from them. That's why I had to take it off. But I got the best tone out of that bass and those strings, and I don't know how I did it. Like I tried getting with those flat wound strings or like adjusting levels and stuff. Like I cannot get that thick, fat bass sound, and it's all your fault, Tyler. When I took those strings off, like they were like crooked. Like you could tell where the frets were. I was like, I was like, oh my gosh! But like, I regret taking them off. I'm like, I should have just kept the slivers. That's how it's like these micro metal slivers. It's the best sound.
You go to like that museum, the EMP museum in Seattle, by the Space Needle. They have a great exhibit of like Nirvana and just kind of like their history, and they'll have like all these just cool things like the demo tapes, like stage props, and they had their guitars, like they're all their like original instruments, and they had like the instruments they used in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video that they used at the MTV Music Video Awards, like everything. And it was all stuff you could buy, like all of it under $1,000.
Mhm.
Like it was like I think the most expensive thing might have been Dave Grohl's drum kit. It was like a
Yeah.
Tama, but there was a pillow in it. Like there was his pillow was still in there, and there was like I mean, it's big toms he would play on and stuff, but like Kurt Cobain's guitar is an $80 something guitar. It was just this piece of crap that he bought from the pawn shop. I was like, might as well use it.
No, Mac had he had like this one
Yeah.
guitar.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
That was alive, pretty much.
Yeah, and he had to stop playing it because it was just falling apart on stage. But there's something to it where it just has like a life of its own. It's like when Neil Young, he can't buy a new guitar; he has to buy a guitar off of somebody else, and like it's just like it's already
worn.
haunted. Yeah,
It's
like
worn. I
uh-huh.
think there's a lot to that.
Oh yeah, to
Yeah.
where it's like, yeah. Oh man, it's
It's like a Stradivarian
Yeah, yeah,
violin.
yeah.
It's like the old
Stradivarius.
Stradivarius
you know what?
guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stuff is crazy. You know what I heard about Stradivarius? That why they like sound so good and why no one can replicate them, because it's almost seemed like the wood that they made it out of was like from this forest, and they looked at like when they harvested this wood, and it was like after like the mini ice age that happened like in the 1800s, like in the early
wood is
1800s, and so there's like they think
cold
that affected like the wood
Like the
somehow,
Industrial Revolution, like messed up the tree
Uh-huh.
or something.
and they're just like that. It did something to it, or it warped it. I don't know what the science behind it was, but they think that might have something to do with it. To be like, despite it being like a 300-year-old instrument, it just gets better over time as long as you take care of it. But like,
It's like any wood's got to settle.
yeah,
Or
Yeah,
maybe
my-
it's just the spirits of the tree.
There was a
Yeah, golden
group in
ones.
my instrumental chemistry class in the last year of school that like we had to do these projects, and it was like it could be anything you wanted it to be. You just had to use certain like instruments, and these kids did it on violin, like the lacquers that they use on violins.
Ooh.
And they're like, there's actually like a whole community of I don't know, like instrument scientists who have been studying and trying to figure out like what exactly is in a Stradivarius lacquer. Like they like
Uh-huh.
take little chips of it and like put it through all these chemical analyses to see if they could. They're like,
Huh.
how do we like create this again? Like it's like a real thing. There's this like this crazy mystery.
I wonder if
Put it in
that
CRISPR.
counts for like guitars too. Because I remember when the
Yeah.
sales
Oh,
guy
yeah.
was selling, mine has no lacquer on it.
Uh-huh.
He's like, this will actually have a little bit of a different sound. But I'm like, I don't know if he's just trying to sell it to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to buy it anyway. But I think there could be something to
Well,
it.
those pre-war Martins,
Yeah.
they just have incredible sound. That's why they're
Yeah, I love
like
Martin guitars.
$180,000 for one.
Did you hear the story about it's Kurt Russell, right, and Hateful Eight, who accidentally smashed one? And did any of you see Hateful Eight?
No.
Yeah, there's a scene where the girl's
Oh, I
playing
heard
guitar.
about that.
She's playing a guitar, and
This is not Animal House?
he grabs it and smashes it on like a pole.
Wasn't it
wood
her
pole.
guitar?
So
It's like a
it was
prop.
a Martin from like the Martin. I think like the Martin Company. They're like museum. They had this guitar and they lent it to Tarantino and the crew to use for the film.
because
so
it's
they
like
were-
from that era.
Yeah, it was a real like
Oh
1800s beautiful Martin guitar. And she's sitting there playing it, and they're filming it. She's playing. They're supposed to stop and then switch it out for a dummy guitar, and then he grabs it and smashes it.
Oh,
And I guess he just forgot. And so she's playing it, and so you can, when you watch the movie now, you can pull up the clip and watch her reaction because she is playing and he grabs it and she's like, oh,
Uh-huh.
she's freaking out, and he grabs it and just smashes it, and you see her face just like, and but it works in the movie
Yeah.
because she
It's not
freaks out, like she is so but yeah,
Oh,
but he
man.
just spaced it or didn't know, or I don't know, and the
I
article.
liked Kurt Russell off I thought he was
Like,
the most wholesome.
I know
dude.
he felt so bad about it, but I was like, you just can't live that down.
You can't.
I
There's
would feel
you
so
can't
like I
replace
just
that.
don't think I could go on.
I know.
I
It's
did.
like-
I could never break an
You're
instrument.
the worst.
I
And it's like an 1800s Martin, like
It's just how I was raised. Like I grew up playing violin. It's like a very delicate instrument, and it's like smashing a person if you smash an instrument. And I remember, like, who was that kid that smashed the guitar in high school? It was like a really crappy old guitar.
Oh,
Mike.
Spencer.
No.
Donaldson.
Was it Spencer Donaldson?
Uh-huh.
I think so.
A name of a person.
Oh yeah, we're gonna edit that out.
Hey, yeah.
We're gonna
it
get
was-
like so many legal battles in the
Just-
future.
oh,
when
yeah.
you guys are huge,
mean-
people are gonna come back and be like,
Well, if
"You said my name." And now it's-
You can edit it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can say people.
where are we at? We're like
But no, you remember that Arthur episode?
2 hours
Yo-Yo
into
Ma.
this.
jeez, it was a Joe Rogan podcast.
Remember that Arthur
Yeah.
episode with Yo-Yo Ma and like Francine's
Oh,
uncle or something? There's just like
that like douche from like Stomp or something.
yeah. So they have like this imaginary moment where like Yo-Yo Ma like falls backwards and smashes his cello. I could
Oh,
watch it as a
yeah.
kid. Like, I'd actually tear up. I'm like, oh, he's so sad. He smashed his freaking cello.
On a side
I
note,
could never.
Walt Disney's very last words were
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Because I guess like Kurt Russell was like, you know, like the big kid star at Disney back in the day. And Walt Disney just like was like a workaholic and just like worked up till the day he died
Yeah.
of smoking all the time. And his last words were like, he wrote it on a piece of paper like Kurt Russell.
That's so weird.
It's aforementioned.
That's funny.
What was Kurt supposed to do?
Uh-huh.
What were
Don't
we
smash
supposed to do with Kurt?
a guitar
Yeah.
worth
No, it's-
a mortgage.
It's painful watching the video now.
Oh,
Once you know that, because at first you just think it's a dummy. Like, why would you think it's
Mhm.
the real thing? But then, once you know that,
It's not just like the
So
money. It's
painful
like
to
the
watch.
guitar is like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like a,
there's
an
nothing you
artifact,
can't
like-
make that again.
no.
No.
Like,
Like,
you have
that's
to make
it.
another guitar
Oh,
and
yeah.
wait 150 years.
Yeah,
You know?
to have it
it's
cooked.
history.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen? There's a video. There's a great video on YouTube of a luthier repairing Willie Nelson's guitar.
Yes,
The guitar
trigger. Yeah,
And the guy, he talks about he's like, yeah, Willie doesn't want me to do too much, you know. He just basically like puts some strings on it, like patches up the holes so they don't get bigger, but it's just like the frets are all worn like pretty much straight down to the fretboard. But like there's holes all over the body of the guitar, and like, but Willie's just like, nah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw him play back in 2011, and I could see from the stage like his guitar, and you could see Johnny Cash's like signature on it. And it was like, ooh, just like
Might be the most valuable guitar in the world.
probably, man. Like that guitar's been around for golly, like he's about. I think Willie Nelson's the same age as my grandma. He's got to be pushing like 85 or something like that. Yeah.
He's still playing.
He's
right?
still around. He's still
He's
kicking
still
it.
going.
And he's totally like he's such a cool dude. Like I'm radio DJ buddy of mine. He like is good friends with I believe his name's Mickey Raphael, and he's the harmonica players of harmonica players. Like, he's the guy. And so he's played with every single person ever, like really everybody, like Bob Dylan to Alanis Morissette. I don't know, just like everybody that needs a harmonica, they'll come to him. But his main gig is Willie Nelson, and like he got to, they were in Austin, Texas, or something like that, and Mickey contacted my buddy and was like, "Hey, do you want to play harmonica?" Because my buddy also plays harmonica. And he's like, "Do you want to play harmonica for Willie Nelson tonight, just like for a song?" He's like, "Oh, okay." He said Willie was just spry. He was just out and about. They played "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," and it was just like he said it was like incredible. Just like that, it was just like this dude is just he's just gonna go until he falls over. Like it's just incredible because I reckon.
Probably.
Ahead of the curve.
I think so. Oh,
Had it right.
totally.
Yeah.
If you guys could jam with one person or band, who would it be?
Jam or play live?
Jam, not play live. Nobody wants to.
There's
play
too many
live
people
in
I'm
another
intimidated
band.
by.
That's a lot of pressure.
Oh man, you know who I think would just be just fun, just
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
because like everybody else, yeah, is intimidating or they weren't nice. Like that I was just like I couldn't play with them, but like I feel like Mac, at least the persona he presents, which seems to be pretty.
Mhm.
It seems sincere,
Mm.
but I feel like he would be cool to jam with. Just to do. We went to his house once.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You used to say
You knock on the door.
And we were so scared. He was home too. Like his car
Really?
was there. And we were just like,
I'm
The
sure.
light was on.
I
It's
think
like there's
you
like
did
a
the right
step
thing.
too far.
it really, because yeah, like the last record he had was like, here's my address in like Rockaway Beach in New York, whatever. But like when he moved to LA, I think he was just like, I can't have
Well,
those
didn't he,
crazy
like-
kids coming out to my
Yeah,
house.
and he like deleted social media, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, more
I don't
recently.
blame him. That's
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a hard game, man.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like I feel like he's having a hard time.
I
he
feel like
just-
he's having a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Well, because Here Comes the Cowboy was so.
Well, not just the music. I don't know. It just sounds like
What?
he's getting a little worn out. He's taking a break.
Well, that's kind of how Here Comes the Cowboy felt. Like I liked it, but it just felt like he was so
He's
like
calmed down a
drained
bit.
almost.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like our age. Can you imagine like having already
Yeah.
been like, and I don't know. I feel like it's like the classic. You get famous, and then it's like all of a sudden now you're like in a separate ego or persona that you have to like maintain. And yeah, I feel like he's been pretty sincere through it all. But I'm sure he has days where he's just like, okay, like kids, I don't want to be like insane 24/7, and like and like when that's your gig and your crowd, and I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just a different personality, but I would just be like, guys, I just want to like be in my house.
Yeah.
like
I don't blame him. Like we're just tiny. We're starting out. And we're just hitting the bricks when we can, like trying to cut our teeth into things, and like. But even then, like even just, it's just like, I don't want to go to practice. I don't want to go to the show. I don't want to do this thing.
Yeah. Some shows it's like, is it just me that's not in the mood? And I was like, I'm not in the mood. for
Yeah,
this show.
like I can't do this. Yeah, and I mean,
Show
like,
must go on.
yeah, it's like, I mean, and they like
I'm tired.
same. It's just like it's what is that? It's tough part to good. Like it's like we really do enjoy it. Really do like it. It's like it's a lot of hard work, even though there's like we're just starting out and stuff. It's like I can't imagine what
Yeah, when you're
actually
some
going
like
on tour.
psycho fans too
Uh-huh.
that are like hanging on your every word that you put out. They're just like obsessed with your life.
Well, and Mac, I feel like did that part really intelligently, almost surprisingly intelligently, because of the way, like, I don't know, the way that he talked in public and everything. It was just like so obvious that he was just having fun. That, like, no one's ever, or at least there's been no like big scarring controversies where it's like Mac said what
Exactly.
because it's everyone's just like, oh, it's Mac, he's having a good time.
Yeah.
You never just like, I don't know. There's never he like never made bounds to overstep.
Yeah.
I think he's just the sweetheart of a guy too. Because there's like
Yeah.
a story where he's like, one kid came up to me after a show, or I'm just paraphrasing, I can't remember, but he's like, your music's helped me get through a really hard time. It's just been a hard time. And he's like, all right, boy, let's. And he like walked into his car or something, and just like talked to him a little bit, like it's gonna be all right. I'm like, that's so cool. Mac's
That's
a therapist.
cool, yeah.
Mac therapy. That's what I was called.
That's what.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's why his whole thing worked, is because at least it seems so genuine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I feel yeah.
I wonder too if like to some because he like in the, most of the time he was like pretty open about like him and Kiki, and he would like post stuff of her all the time, But I wonder if that too after a while was like, whoa, like I'm sure there were fans who like started like making comments or doing stuff that's just like, whoa, dude, like you are not in like a part of our relationship,
exactly.
like I don't know, I'd be interested like Back to Marco. If you listen to this, we want to have you on the show.
Exactly.
We want to know what's
Mackie.
going on.
Come here, baby. We need you.
I think that was our cue to end, though.
Hey,
I'm
what
tired
time
of getting
is
a text. It's like 10.
is it Miranda saying, "Wrap it up, boys"?
No, it's Jacob.
You guys suck.
Asking if we want to go backpacking.
Right now?
That's the cue. That's
That's
the
a Jacob text.
I
Yeah.
cue. Well, boys,
My legs are tired.
a
And
Joe
with
Prom.
And with the testimony? Oh, okay.
You guys can be found on Spotify and
Yes.
Bandcamp. Russell, you're working on a new album.
Working on a new
Do
album.
you have an ETA on that album yet? Like an
Um,
estimate time?
Next year for sure, I would say. Like getting everything finished and everything, because it's a lot of time, a lot of money. I went in going into this thinking like, oh, cinch. You know, you just read this and this and this, but there's just so much to it that I'm just like, well, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening the way I want to, but like not anytime uber soon. But I would say we are playing a lot of shows, keep an ear out for some new songs, and be patient for early next year,
Okay.
because that's when you might
2020.
see things appear.
Cool.
Are any of the songs from the current LP going to be on the new album?
No, all new songs.
Fresh.
Got 10 brand new, tasty songs.
So excited.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good times, man.
Can't wait.
I'm really stoked for working with cool people, and it's just gonna be great.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Good time.
This is way fun.
Goodbye, YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
It just turns out like nothing recorded at all.